Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're glad you're here to listen whenever it is you're listening. And my guest today is Dianne Collins. And Diane, thank you for being here today and thank you for joining us. And I'm going to read a little bit of your
Thank
biography
you for
here.
having me, Carla. It's an honor and a privilege and pleasure.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're here. I had forgotten to pull up your biography here to read, so I'm just going to read it now for everyone to learn a little bit more about you. Diane Collins is a spiritual healing coach, intuitive, and founder of Dejana1122.com. She works with people who are feeling spiritually disconnected, emotionally heavy, or just stuck, and guides them back to their inner power through a combination of healing tools like tarot readings, guided meditation, body movement therapy, and self care wellness. She believes healing isn't just mental or emotional, that it lives in the body and spirit too. And I totally agree with that. So she guides her clients in safe, grounded experience to release what no longer serves them energetically and spiritually. And her contacts here is Dejana1122.com. And I also have her Facebook links below, and she's also available on Peaks. I have to show my age. I haven't even heard of Peaks, so I just kind of stick with the old ones. And anyway, so Diane, I'm glad you're here, and I just want to tell everyone I met Diane excuse me, I'm having trouble speaking this morning. I met Diane in person at one of um, the closest metaphysical fairs, the closest located to me. And we had a nice conversation there, and I thought we could continue our conversation here with all of you so you can hear about the ancestral curses and how to break those and heal yourself, and learn from other things that Diane might share with us. And so, Diane, I like to start by having people tell a little bit of their story of how they came to um, do the work you're doing, and whatever part of your background you'd like to share.
It was just always there for me. You hear about a lot of people um, that end up, being in the spiritual community because they may have gone to a school for it and gained like mentorship and things of that nature. But for me, it was always there since I was a kid. And for me, uh, healing always came in the form of body movement. And so for me, at a very young age, I knew naturally how to transmute negative vibration by dancing, and didn't know that that's what I was doing. And I just always felt things, the energy that was around me. I could tell when frequencies around me changed. And it was like I grew up in a very, very hard background. It was like a harsh family dynamic, a narcissistic family dynamic. And so I learned about how those frequencies and those type of energies or that type of personality and what I would say that type of spirit, I know how that spirit walks. I know what it feels like. I know how it talks. I know what it smells like because I had been around it since I was a child. And so I had, like I said, always used body movement and like music and body movement, goes hand in hand. And so I was naturally drawn to being a music artist as well. And this is how I was able to, or why I incorporate body movement and sound therapy and music therapy into my healing practice. So I didn't realize what a narcissistic relationship. I didn't know what narcissistic personality disorder was at all. I had never heard of it. Now I heard people speak of the term of say, oh, that person's a narcissist, and I just thought it meant that person was like an arrogant person or something like that. It just was whatever. But and lo and behold, all my life I was around narcissists, and it was a trauma bond because you see, these were people that were my support systems. This was my father, my mom, my brothers, my sisters, and then it's an energy that I'm saying stays. I mean, even though it's different faces, it moves into different bodies or avatars, and so it was like it moved into I was started. It was familiar because that energy was familiar to me since I was like child. I started choosing romantic partners that were narcissists. I started working with narcissistic people, and had trauma bonds with these people, thinking that that's what love was, And the whole entire time that I'm dealing with these people and they're abusing me, I'm dancing and healing it, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm making music about it and healing it. And so it was almost like I went through like a boot camp. And the whole entire time I'm going through this boot camp, I'm studying this type of energy. And lo and behold, one day that information had fell into my lap. That's what I had been dealing with all my life. Narcissistic people that were members of 3 different types of mental uh, instability. They're like clinical terms, and that's sociopath and psychopath and Machiavellian. And a lot of the people that were in my life were a member of one of those 3, but all 3 of those carry narcissistic traits. It's an energy, and so I can tell. I just can tell. I can feel it. I can tell when people are giving me fake love, fake support, fake, you know, kind of like it's love bombing. That's what it is. I can tell when a person's love bombing. I can tell when a person is like fraudulent. And all my life, I had been able to do this, and I had always was afraid because I didn't like to, rock boats or anything like that. I was always afraid to call people out. And so I learned over the years that when I did call people out, or either withdrew my energy from those types of energies, all heck would break loose. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, everyone would go mad and stuff like that. And so I just understand that type of energy, and I've been around it. And so through divination, the universe has, even though it was a nightmare, it's a gift. It's a gift. It's almost like a superpower. I could walk into a room and I could tell who's genuine and who's not. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Still, I'll check them out. I'll still fill out their energy and let them think that they're fooling. You know what I'm saying? But it's a weird, negative, low vibration. And like I said, that I'm very, very familiar with because it has followed me around all of my life. You know what I'm saying? And so it's now become my superpower. And so now I pretty much started Dianne1122.com for the awareness of narcissistic abuse, because it's an insidious form of abuse that it doesn't have scars. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? And obviously it's something that my family lineage, way before my parents even, you know what I'm saying, harbor these traits. And so when I see these traits coming out in me, I worked very, very hard on destroying them. And I still work on destroying them. We're always a work in progress because, I know that I was the black sheep of the family and was scapegoated, not only in my family dynamic, but in work situations. Like I said, I used to be a music producer. I worked in the house music industry. And the house music industry is supposed to be love and light, and it's a music that's supposed to elevate and raise the vibrations and the frequency of the room, of the world, of the consciousness of the people that are listening to it. So I was working around a bunch of people who were frauds. You know what I'm saying? They were snakes. You know what I'm saying? But they were putting on this facade that they were love and light. But I saw them firsthand, you know, destroy lives, and um, people afraid to speak out about those types of people, and because it's a nasty energy, and this is the reason why a lot of people say the nasty thing, or say to watch out about the music industry because there's evil people in it. I now understand what they mean, but it's not just the music industry. This low vibrated negative energy, it runs rampant in lots of industries, even in the spiritual community. In fact, if you do your homework on most of the people that tend to carry heavy narcissistic traits, they're usually in the spiritual community. They're usually pastors, community leaders, um, priests, high priestesses, things of that nature, people that love power. It's a energy that feeds off of power. And this energy will stop at nothing to get what it wants. And I just happen to be blessed with knowing how to decipher it through tarot, and when I go inside of rooms. Uh, I don't have to necessarily read it through the cards. I can actually walk inside of a room and I could count out how many people that have that energy on them. And I will try my best to just stay away from that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm teaching other people how to decipher that type of energy in their environment through the tarot. And if they have been inflicted with that low vibration, that energy's been, casted upon them, and they start feeling the projections of those types of energies, how to work it off, how to transmute that energy so that they don't fall into the cracks of that. Because there's lots of people that don't make it from narcissistic abuse.
Right. So,
Because
ca-
narcissists, they
um,
like to do things so that their hands are clean. You know what I'm saying? They like to have other people do their bidding. You know what I'm saying? To keep their hands clean so that they can keep their reputations up. Because, like I said, these are people that love power, and it's an energy. You know what I'm saying? That's running within that person. And so I'm just the type of person that I'm just made a promise to myself that, yeah, since I have this beautiful gift, that I'm going to share that with people and even teach them how to strengthen their discernment to keep them from being involved with those types of energies.
right. I kind of relate to a little bit of what you're saying. I, again, didn't know the term narcissism or exactly what it means. And I'm still a bit fuzzy on exactly what it refers to. And so maybe you could go in a little bit more on that. But I was married to a drug addict and alcoholic for about 6 years. And anytime I'm around someone, and it doesn't have to mean that person is a drug addict or alcoholic, it's the mental patterns that they have of inflicting blame and control and coercion on another person, right? To either to get what means they want or to make themselves look good. That's what my husband did that I was married to at that time. And so I relate when I go, when I'm, they like to play you, is what I call it. You called it energy bomb or something like, no, something bomb. I call it, they like to play you. And I can feel that play when people are playing me, right? Trying to, for whatever their purpose. Um,
Hmm.
and red flags go up immediately, right? It's like I don't want to have anything to do with them. And but anyway, so I understand a little bit about what you're saying. So could you
Exactly.
Yeah, is that pretty much how you would explain a narcissistic person then?
It's very to explain a narcissistic personality, a person who actually harbors the actual, that's clinically diagnosed as a narcissistic personality disorder. To me, it's so broad because there's so many different layers. It's almost like peeling back an onion because there's covert narcissists, there's overt narcissists, there's grandiose narcissists. You see what I'm saying? So it's like an umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some narcs that are really sweet. The number one thing that they are is master manipulators and habitual liars. Those are the
Mhm.
top two things that they are. And the third is uh, ultimate charmers. They love to charm. They throw on that. That's where the love bombing come in. Where you call it, you didn't know what I called it, but yes, that's an actual clinical term. It's they overly shower you with compliments and or gifts or praise you a whole lot. Consider you family. Consider you sister. Consider you you're one of the team now, and it's way too fast and it's way too much.
Mm.
They're doing that so that because they want something from you. You know what I'm saying? This is where I get into start talking about energy vampires. I'm not sure if you've heard
Right.
of that term.
Oh,
And
yes.
that's where we start getting into the spiritual level of this narcissistic personality disorder. It's really um to me an evil, diabolical energy,
Mm.
insidious energy.
Yeah.
And you know how they say in the Bible, Lucifer was beautiful. That's what it is. They come to you beautiful. They come to you with praise and shower. And some of them are very, very attractive on the outside people. And that's the reason why it's easy for you to believe them when they're showering you with all of this admiration and stuff like that. I had exes. Oh my goodness. I had this very, very attractive ex boyfriend. And oh man, that dude was something else. That's all I got to say about that. And if it wasn't for that one, I would have not discovered what the boyfriends previously were doing to me, and also the different umbrellas and levels or different types of narcissism that's out there. Because all of them harbored the same energy, but they all moved a little bit different
Mhm.
with their manipulation tactics. And so that's the reason why I say that it's very intricate and it's very broad because no two narcissists necessarily act the same, yet they all move in the same energy and almost move like they all are playing from the same playbook. It's very, very weird. And it's something that you most definitely have to do your homework on. And when you think that you know enough, you end up learning more. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's like peeling back an onion. When you
Right.
do discover that you've been in narcissistic environment.
Yeah. So, how when I guess you had said you were a child, you always had felt this from your parents and siblings. So, like, do you have
Oh my
any
goodness.
do you
Yes.
have any clue what generation it may have started? Like, it's just something that was passed down for many generations. Do you feel?
I have a yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I personally, yes. It wasn't just my immediate family, it was other generations because I saw how my aunts and uncles behaved, and I know how their lifestyles are on both my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. And well, nobody kosher. I don't mean to be, sound like that, but they weren't put it this way, I'm nobody really was working on no one was doing shadow work.
Hmm. Well, and
Everyone
in
in my
those,
family ran from stuff.
in
So
those,
it is what it is. And I think
yeah.
because of me doing it, I couldn't heal around them. When they discovered that I was trying to heal from all of the stuff that's been inflicted upon me, all heck broke loose. To the point where I had to move a lot of stuff down, because when you don't do what these dark triads say, if you don't move and shake the way that they want you to move and shake, when you don't be the pawn in their story and you don't be the slave to their projection, they go ballistic. The smear campaigns start, accusations fly, the victim blaming, the shaming, the exploiting of past stuff. They will take the victim's past and exploit everything about it. They will twist up what their victim's whole entire personality is, just so that they could feel power, because if they want to be in control of someone's life, it gives them great joy, you know what I'm saying, to watch and see someone, their target, lose everything from their manipulation and their lies and their crazy tactics and their flying monkeys. Like I said, they execute other people even into the mix so that their hands are clean. So that the victim, if the victim say, that person's doing this to me, they say, hey, I'm not doing anything to nobody. Hey, that person's crazy. That person's just crazy. Don't, to discredit. It's called gaslighting.
Yes.
The victim ends up being gaslit, and being gaslit will drive a person crazy. It would drive a person insane. And that's the reason why it's very imperative to understand the traits of these types of personalities, these dark triad personalities, so that you know what to look out for, because your soul is you. Your soul is the thing that's moving and shaking and making the decisions and stuff like that. So if you got the wrong energy in your environment, it can deter you from off of your soul path. And that's the reason why it's very important for you to, or for everyone, to break generational curses, especially when they know that there's something wrong, and I would say, when you say what generation, I'm going to, I think that it's like the around after like the baby boomers, the women's liberation, the all of that. It's just when the nuclear family dynamics started to change. I believe it's when we started getting a really high level of male narcissism, or it was already there. And that's probably even the catalyst that even made the women's liberation movement even happen. But I know for a fact that there was a lot of fatherless homes, or if the father was in the home, it was a lot of narcissistic fathers that had these wives that became borderline destructive, petulant people because of the narcissistic abuse that they were going through. Like when I was growing up, my mother, she had a disdain for every last one of her daughters. She had a disdain for all of us. And I don't know where that came from, but I know that my dad used to slap her up a lot. He used to beat on her all the time, and belittle her and exert dominance of her, to the point where, yeah, I did not sleep. Not me nor any of my siblings. We didn't sleep well at night as kids. So therefore, you already know, if a child's not getting a full 8, they're not learning so well in school. Though I'm sorry, we actually, believe it or not, we actually did really good in school. Believe it or not, I can't lie. Me and my siblings, when it came to our academics, we were straight A students, because if we weren't, our father was going to hurt us really bad. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It was one of those things. We better been smart. We had better pass and get our high school diplomas, or else it was going to be hell to pay. Because he didn't want, he's a narcissist. He had to make sure that he looked like Heathcliff Huxtable. You know what I'm saying? He had to make sure that he had a shiny persona. And guess what he was? He was the pastor of my church.
Oh, that's yeah, that well, and that leads to a lot more, I guess you could call generational curses than when it's not just a parent, but it's someone else that's in authority figure that others trust so much more. Then they're going to discount what you might see,
Exactly.
or it also then fuzzes the line between religion, or your faith, and the family dynamic too. So it's to me it seems very difficult then on different levels, that would entail those
Oh, it
generational
was.
patterns.
Because it was just really weird because when I think back on our religious upbringing, from what I could remember as a very, very small girl, we went to a Presbyterian church first. And then it went from Presbyterian to Baptist. And then all of a sudden, we were just like these non denominational Christians. You know what I'm saying? But naturally, like I said, and what I was told from aunts and uncles and stuff like that, my grandmother, she did dibble and dabble into occult uh, practices. And just as a child, it was just always, I was just drawn to it. And I remember the story that I was told by my mother was she saw something that happened. I think my grandmother was doing some type of a seance or something like that, which I don't do seances. I don't want people thinking I do all that. You know what I'm saying? But it was something along that lines. She was doing a seance, or she was maybe reading tarot, or I don't know what it was. I can't remember what necessarily was, but my mother and them, they all encountered something that ended up scaring the bejesuses out of them. And that was kind of the reason why my mom called herself shying away from that type of a belief system. But same token, my mother taught me how to meditate. She just didn't call it meditation. She said that she would close her eyes and she would empty her mind. She would try to make sure she wasn't thinking about anything. That's how she said it to me. And I was like a kid when she told me that. You know what I'm saying? And so I would do that all the time, especially when I was being treated unfair, like ganged up on and stuff like that. I never understood the whole entire, my older siblings and younger siblings ganging up on me, even as a child. That was a thing that they did. And it followed us all the way into adulthood. So
Sure.
it's like they didn't break that generational curse at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they would not they couldn't see me as an adult. They refused to see me as an adult. They refused to see me. They wanted to see me for what the family dynamic coined me to be. And that's what happens in narcissistic family dynamics. You get labeled something. And once you get labeled that, everyone's supposed to treat you like that. And then your siblings will go outside of the family and tell your friends to treat you like that. And they'll tell your lovers, your boyfriends to treat you like that, to keep you in line. I had all of my boyfriends were influenced by my siblings to abuse me, because it was she has to stay in line. And then when I go out in public and I meet other people, I run into that same, like I said, when I was in the house music industry, it was the same thing, that same energy. You know what I'm saying? The same exact energy. It doesn't matter what industry that I go into. And it's like this type of narcissistic energy, it understands empathic energy. It
Mhm.
knows impacts. It can smell them, taste them, feel them, all of that. They have a gift where they can tell who's pure and who's not. And they will target that pure person and try to destroy that pure person because that pure person is a mirror of what they could be. You know what I'm saying? And so they want to
Right.
destroy it and make it just like all the other stuff. And I think that's pretty much what my siblings have always tried to pull when it came to me. And so, yeah, when my mom and father had passed away, I immediately knew to get away and move as far as possible and to heal
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
everything, from things not being doors not being closed, answers not questions not being answered from my mom and dad. And now, what I'm saying, I got unhinged, siblings that didn't get those answers to those questions either. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody grieves differently. And
Mhm.
I already know that I'd always been the scapegoat. So now you knew to get the heck out of Dodge. Because,
Absolutely.
these is grieving siblings, and saying that, always blamed things on me. And so I understand everybody that has that energy. Like I said, I understand that energy, and I just do my best to make sure that I see that in myself as well. If that level of that, you know what I'm saying, and that's what shadow work is all about. You know what I'm saying? Um, it was quite a nightmare of a past to have when you have a family dynamic like that that even goes outside of the family and goes to your friends and your business colleagues and that this and that and other and be like, oh, it's okay to treat them that way. And it's a nightmare having to deal with that. But I made sure to cling on to my ancestors. And when I tell you that my ancestors put me through, they put me through. This is where I started working with Martin Luther King. This is where I started working with Rosa Parks. This is where I started working with Thurgood Marsh. This is where I started working with W.E.B. Du Bois. This is where I started working with, ISIS and Ocean and all of these people because it's an energy. People think that that people are idolizing and worshiping these false gods. It's not that. Just like to me, Christ is energy, Christ-like consciousness. It's not that we're worshiping a man. We're worshiping that energy that man ran in after he understood his narcissistic traits that he had and decided to go into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights to handle that. I had to do the same thing. That's what me moving and running away from the family dynamic and me always, kind of isolating myself. It's just like when Jesus Christ was going into the wilderness to figure his stuff out. And we all should do that. It's called Christ was doing shadow work. So that, and that's the reason why he's going with having this Christ-like consciousness, and we should all try to walk in that light. And so daily, that's what I work on. And that's what Diane 1122.com is all about. You know what I'm saying? Shadow work so that you can work, walk in Christ-like consciousness, and understand what the energy is that's in your environment and not just your external environment, but your internal environment as well. So please feel free to work with whatever ancestor that's for your greater good, that has done great things to elevate the environment in society as a whole. So ancestral working with your ancestors and knowing that your ancestors are with you. You're never alone. Understanding that you're never alone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if I was anyone that was going through a lot of turmoil, because you don't have to necessarily be going through narcissistic personality or narcissistic abuse. Just if you're in a funk or any of that stuff, just, meditate on it and make sure that you're moving your body and making sure that you're educating yourself, your internal self, um, more so than what's going on in the external. If anything, try to make sure that your external is looking like what your internal is looking like. And so that's what I'm an advocate about. That's the reason why I say that, why I'm big on self care wellness.
Right, absolutely. The I'm just kind of wanting to visit a little bit in the some people might have a uh, different meaning. We're talking about breaking ancestral curses, which to me, I mean, some people see curse as the word like you might have a witch or a magician or just a really narcissistic person um, speaking down to the family or casting a spell type of thing, saying you have to, this is going to be how everyone's going to be, and that's kind of the connotation that the word curse kind of comes up with. um, to me, the I just want to
Right.
throw that in because I titled the conversation that way, breaking ancestral curses, because that's kind of how we had spoken when we spoke in person. And
Hmm.
to me, it's the what we're actually speaking about is the generational DNA and learned
Right.
behavior that we carry in our energy system, that is there in our DNA, that is there because of our emotional makeup and
Hmm.
the stuck energy that we developed in receiving different things and starting those patterns. They're ancestral as well as our own, and to me, that's the
Yes.
idea that it's been like a curse because it carries down from generation to generation, this behavior and the attitude. Um, but as you have shown
Hmm.
so um, in what you've said and shown in your life, how you can break this curse, right? Break those the generational patterns is what we're talking about, right? Um, that we all do through energy
Right.
work, or I do through biofield
Exactly.
tuning, or all the different energy modalities work on this level, as well as just you might call the coaching or um, psychology, right? In what you would call it, counseling, talk therapy, or other things like that. We're all working um,
Hmm.
toward the same means of helping people uh, gain some ground and learn new behaviors so you can change those patterns in yourself and for the future generations. Don't you see it that way? It's not
Yeah, and I think
you
it's
yeah.
beautiful because everyone, yeah, because everyone learns differently. So, I think it's beautiful. Like I was saying, I love what you do for your show, how you have so many different mentors and teachers on, because everyone's learning and understanding, and their soul understands things differently. My way of teaching people or helping people heal is different than your way. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that resonate with your way, you know what I'm saying? You are helping them, and there's people that resonate with my way that doesn't resonate with your way. And this is how we're all needed. And this is the reason why I love the fact that we're all one. And it's always an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to even be beside anyone else that's a part of the spirit team here that's helping raise the vibrations of and spread the awareness of breaking generational curses and stuff like that. And like I said, I love the fact that I have pretty much isolated myself so that I won't carry on those behaviors that my father and my mom carried. Even as far as habits that they had, like other small habits, like cigarettes. The
Mhm.
way that I started smoking Cool Filter Kings was my parents would tell us kids to light the cigarette on the stove for them. And in order to light that cigarette, to get it to light, you had to pull on it. You have to, suck on it. And so they started me smoking at a very young age. I started smoking cigarettes at the age of 12. And so I didn't stop smoking cigarettes until the age of 47.
Good for
And
you.
so I'm very proud of that because I really thought that those things were going to be with me all the way till my last day. But so not only have I worked on clearing and breaking the mental instability, the because that's what it is. Because that's what it was. It was a mental illness. It was a mental sickness.
Yes.
I was able to take care of that. You know, um, through just having a really really strong faith based system. If I didn't believe in my vocal tools. It's not that I worship them. It's just they are things that I was naturally drawn to that always raised my elevation, elevated my energy. And I know that there's other people out there that move and shake in the same type of energy that I do. They are a fidgety, move around, type of person. So their way of healing is probably not going to take being still sometimes. Sometimes some people need to heal moving around and stuff like that. So I do understand that my style of coaching and mentoring is very different than most teachers and mentors that are out here. But that's what we need. Even I'm even trying to break that generational curse of us thinking that in order to heal somebody, it's got to be cookie cutter in this sort of fashion. You know what I'm saying? No, there's other fashions because the people learn in different ways. No two person is the same.
Well,
So I'm just
I
happy to be able to offer that.
sure. Yeah, I think that's good. I know in biofield tuning, as I do sessions, many times I find my own body moving in different ways, like my feet are tapping, or my hips are moving, or one arm's doing this while I'm holding the fork with the other arm. It's all happening. And so I tell then the client to move, like move your fingers. If my arm is moving, then I tell them move your fingers. If my feet are moving, say, get up and walk around, or stomp your feet where you're laying down at, or something. It's because that extra intention and the extra movement allows the energy to clear, right? It helps change the vibration within your system, right? Hey,
That is correct.
yeah, we have a question here
That is
in the
correct.
chat. Yeah. Uh, we have a question here in the chat, wanting to know more about from the religious perspective, in breaking those patterns or curses, right? And making those changes. And have then, do you still find, or did you even then find religion to be very oppressive and limiting? Do you practice religion now? Um, how do you think religion ties
No,
in
that's
with
not at
these
all. Not at all.
patterns?
Not never. It,
Ne
it coincides with it. It coincides because I also incorporate angel numbers. And a lot of people look at angel numbers as either one of the two things. They look at angel numbers as either coming from Christian belief or either they look at it as numerology. And when you actually read angel number meaning, it's very Christian based, or they're what you would consider Christian or Catholic based. It's just really, really high vibrated. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying?
mhm.
Affirmations. And so to me, that's religious to me. And so spirituality to me, I'm like I said, I'm omniist, if you understand what that is. I
Well,
worship anything or not anything like worship. It's just I practice anything that is positive, that's of a high vibration, that's going to help me and people for the greater good, in society. So I'm if I'm not necessarily Buddhist or whatever, but I get down with what Buddhists throwing out. You know what I'm saying? I believe in
Mhm.
that stuff. But I don't follow the Buddha practice, so to speak. Same thing with religion. I love what Jesus, like I said, Jesus Christ, Christ-like consciousness. That's great, but you won't find me at a Baptist church or a Christian church or a Catholic church every Sunday.
Right. I
You know what I'm
think
saying? But I
yes.
still believe in that stuff.
You're distinguishing, kind of the way I do between religion versus spirituality, right? I got to a point where
That is correct. Yeah.
I got to a place where I found organized religion as very limiting, and not no longer did I believe that way. And versus spiritual, whereas I've always been spiritual, and to continue that inner relationship, right, with however you see it, creator or God or spirit, the
Right.
universe,
I would say,
all the
I
different
would
terms.
say, mhm. Yeah, because with me, I would say it's kind of like both for me. I don't think. I mean, yeah, it's a little limiting because a lot of people would frown upon the spiritual, my spiritual aspect or my spirituality, but within religion, it's preaching a lot of spiritual teachings. If you read through the Bible, it's actually telling you to, it's talking about your soul, it's talking about your spirit, it's talking about who you are as a person. So, in a way, it's like anything and everything. Everything has a negative and a positive to it. You know what I'm saying? But it's still together. It's still one, and a lot of people would love to constantly separate, but the more and more that I study and look in with my natural born moral compass and with religion, I understand what it's saying. It's almost like religion is trying to put words to what our soul does. And it's the Bible can't possibly write down every single thing that we feel and every single thing that we think and what I'm saying? It's just kind of like a blueprint or something like that. So to be for real, it saddens me when super religious people look at spiritual people as worshiping the devil or something like that. Because to me, they're practicing don't get along with your soul. Don't try to connect with your soul, to just be mindless out here and just obey whatever someone of authority tells you to do. And ignore what your soul is trying to tell you. Ignore what your intuition, that gut feeling, ignore that. You know what I'm saying? And that's wrong because of that gut feeling is who you are, and that's what, to me, a lot of religious people are doing. They're stifling people's souls.
Well,
So in
in
that
many
respect, yeah, I see that.
yeah, I think in that's what I have found it kind of in religion. I think often different religions have been used to steer the people, perhaps I meant where it's based on the pure or the original spiritual teachings that of Christ consciousness type of thing, those attributes, but have been used to steer people in a direction where, say, the church leaders or that organizing group wanted to steer people. And um, and a lot is words too. Like there was a comment here that like I believe too that all religions were built on earlier belief systems. Um, but and that Christianity is deeply intertwined with pagan traditions. However, um, the word pagan in itself only used to mean that it was people living
Hmm.
close to the earth. It was like, why witches get the name of being pagan or other pagan religions. They were outside of the organized religion, and they were living close to nature. That was definition, basically, of pagans, that very close to nature. And so words get flipped right through the years and
Mhm.
turned against different groups of people for different reasons, right? For manipulation or control, or
Yes,
uh, so. Um, so anyway, yes, I think. Um, but to change the subject just a
I
little
know
bit,
that there's a
also.
book from what's his name, Carter G. Wilson. Yeah, I was going to mention how you were just talking about words and how people use words to manipulate. And I was going to tell you, if you hadn't, you should check out this book from Carter G. Wilson, and the book is called Our Words, and it talks about exactly that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's big how, and so we speak these words without knowing what the original meaning is, because for us the meaning is changed. And so sometimes I wonder, how does that change your intentions about things, right? Of course, the universe, I believe, works on the original intention. So if you were intending one, anyway, that's kind of a tangent to go on. But yes, words make a difference. And but I wanted to go back to how um, you see this now, this all this difficulty through your childhood and growing up years as being your superpower now, and it speaks to knowing that all things that we experience, even those negative energies, can work, all do work for our highest good, right? And everything, and probably are part of our soul contracts, that
That is
whatever we
correct.
agreed on to experience when we
It
were
is.
here, that we wanted to learn from and grow through and come out bigger and brighter on the other end to help humanity as a whole. I think all our soul contracts, except perhaps some that we make with other people, might not be as healthy, but the ones that we make with heaven, or spirit, are for the highest good of all, that it all develops and goes that way. Although, like you pointed out, some things might really take us off the true path, and divert from. It'd be so nice, wouldn't it, to go, if I could have gone, or you could have gone straight from where um things really went haywire, right, straight to say where we are now, being able to have grown and worked through.
Oh, yes, I so wanted it to be that way.
But then we would have missed all
I so
all
wanted it to
that
be that
growing
way.
experience, right? We would have missed all that, and
Exactly,
and
exactly.
so we wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't. We would take it
where
for
we are
granted.
today.
I would totally take it for granted.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be where
I
we
would
are
still be
today.
learning. I feel I
Yes.
would still be learning the lesson.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, so yes, I think it definitely, everything works for our highest good if we let it. And knowing that the universe is only there for our highest good. The great spirit, right? The ether, right? All the
Exactly.
universe that is made of. It's just that
Exactly. Exactly.
people's choices aren't always for the highest good when they're making them, right? But even then it turns for the highest good. Yes.
It's just it's fear. Good, because it's fear. You
Mhm.
know, we all fear happen to face that we're not running in the best that we could be. You know, especially if we stop and think about what we wanted to be when we was kids. You know what I'm saying? And then we'd be like, you know what? I'm nowhere remotely close to what I thought I wanted to be, or I'm not even doing anything that I said that I wanted to do when I was a kid, and that frustrates us. And that stuff that we even try to stifle from each other. Like we'll see someone trying to live their dream. We'll know about, we have people that don't know about someone's golden dream, and they'll do everything within their power to throw wrenches in someone else's golden dream instead of actually focusing on their own golden dream. And so ultimately, what they're doing is stifling their own journey. and they don't want to accept that. And we all go through that. And when we're too focused on stuff that doesn't align with our soul purpose. And I've had to get bonked upside the head a bunch of times to realize that the divine didn't want me to be in the house music industry. The divine put me in the house music industry for a reason, though. And it wasn't for me to be the house music star. It was for me to pretty much expose some house music stars simply by just the way that I live my life, because I didn't sell my soul. Because we always hear that term in the music industry or in the entertainment industry. We hear people say, oh, that person sold their soul.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For this and that and other. And when people think about it, they think about it in this morbid way, but it's just that person made a bad deal with a person. The person ended up clicking up with someone who was a shady person. And they decided to give their power away to that shady person. That's all it means to sell your soul to the industry. It means to okay, you're the leader. Yeah, I'll let you do whatever. I'll follow your ways. I'll be your slave. If you tell them no, you're a bully. You know what I'm saying? You're looked down upon. You know what I'm saying? And you'll get a lot of smear campaigns and stuff like that. And that's just how evil the entertainment industry is for anyone that enters the industry. And it was disheartening for me to enter a scene that was healing for me. House music is very healing. It's personal because it's soul music. That's what they call it. They say it's music for the soul, So when you got bullies controlling the music for the soul, and then you call them out, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to see a wrath. A lot of music artists have tried to expose music artists. Look at what the P. Diddy thing is. Right. People expose music artists and all heck breaks loose. You know what I'm saying? And so this is the reason why it's very important to understand what the meaning soul tie is, like you were saying earlier. The soul tie is basically who you're dealing with, who you're doing business with, who you're being friends with, who you're being study buddies with. You know what I'm saying? Who you're being a romantic partner with, and giving your power away to these people. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason it is. You just need to start being more aware of that. And a lot of us, we take that for granted. We're so quick to call people, buddy or pal or sister or brother. And we need to take a pause and be like, why is that person calling me that so quick when they don't know anything about me, man? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just hoping that some of this is resonating with some of the people that are listening.
We have a question about, because you had mentioned welcoming angels and their wisdom into your work. And so do you work with specific angels or just kind of the broad term or the broad wisdom of heaven type of thing through the angels?
No, I actually feel so. It's usually like Archangel Michael. I usually get Gabriel, Raphael, but usually the energy that I feel when I'm being spiritually attacked would be Isis. It would be like an Isis type of a shielding. If you look at Isis statue, when she's in her warrior stance, she's actually holding a shield. She's not fighting. She doesn't have a gun or a staff or a knife. She has a shield. I'm like Isis. I stop it. I block it. I get away from it. I run. You know what I'm saying? That's the way that I do. I retreat and I go heal from it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel when they give me guidance, most definitely. And I can feel when passed over relatives give me guidance. I hate telling people that because people think that I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but that's just the way it is, Yeah, and that's why I don't like talking about it, because I don't want people thinking that something's wrong with me. But same token, I don't care anymore because The proof is in the pudding. The way that I live my life, that I'm touched by something because the stuff that I've gone through. Number one, I don't look like what I've gone through. Number two, I'm not supposed to even be here to tell this story. Like I said, most people that go through gang stalking and bullying and narcissistic abuse, you know, they off themselves. They're not here to talk about it. And that's what Diane 1122 is. It's the voice for all of those people, aka my boy Freaky. Um I had a really good friend who's like my brother. His name's Eric McIntyre. I watched what the music industry did to him. I watched what the music industry did to my ex-boyfriend, Joseph Kramer. I saw the bullying and the gang stuff, and they played the same game with me. Except for I didn't kill myself. Like, I'm sorry for saying those words, but I didn't leave like Eric did, and I didn't leave like Joe did.
Mm-hmm.
And these people were expecting for me to leave like that man, or both of those men, and no dice, because I know what you did, and I know that energy. You know what I'm saying? I know how that stuff works. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I say just be very wary about who you're having soul contracts with, rather that's a person or even a place or a thing. Because even things harbor low vibrated energy in areas and locations. They harbor low vibrations, and I'm sure you know that. So,
Right. Oh, absolutely. So let's talk more about the movement therapy that you do and how that then helps release the ancestral um, patterns and the things that block us from moving forward from living with those.
I believe that for me, like I said, since I was a little girl, and I've always used that as a focal point and didn't even know that that's what I was doing. I believe that that comes from deep down in a DNA root, a DNA African root. Because when you pay attention to what most of your Africans or your indigenous people of all nations have done was dance. They danced mainly during war. When things were bad, that's what they had. They had this. So I think that that just naturally comes from my ancestors, your ancestors, all of our ancestors. That's what they did when stuff wasn't good, and that's what they did when stuff was good. So
Yeah,
it was always a healing focal tool since man was man.
I agree. I've heard a
And I
lot of
think it's just
stories.
something that we take for granted.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories from like my grandparents' generation who were born in the like between say um, 1925 and earlier, just to draw a line somewhere. And it was frequently every Friday night or every Saturday night, and I'm sure it happened across the United States, at least in different places, but it happened in rural places and it happened in towns. And someone decided just to clear all the furniture out of two rooms of their house or one big room of their house or have a platform outside, and everybody from the area would come and have a dance party. Right. And by the time I was growing up, that didn't happen anywhere. Right. Locally, you had to go to the big bands and pay the money
Oh,
to
for
get
me,
in.
that's all
Right.
my. I was like, that's all I was.
Yeah.
Shit, that's a. It was like my era. I was lucky. I was lucky because of my generation. That's all we did. Damn.
Yeah, yeah. I know I find in biofield work sometimes I can't say it happens every session but it happens frequently enough as the energy shift and it changes from I'm feeling the vibrations of the lower energies of the lower emotions and the energy is rising and the energy is shifting. It's like I'm dancing in the room. I'm dancing around in the through the ancestral field or dancing in the individual field just because that's what the energy wants me to do. That's what the spirit moves me to do as a way of acknowledging that that's what's needed, right? Or
Exactly.
acknowledging the positive energies that are coming through. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's a really nice thing.
Exactly.
The I think in many ways, just to tie in religion
And
again,
that's the
just
reason why you see babies do it.
yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, I've seen like on Facebook posts and things that you do like fire dancing or something. What's the name for that? And are you using that as part of your healing work?
Yes, actually, I am. And this summer, I'm going to actually be posting a lot more fire performance tutorials because the way I got into fire performance was fire eating. And the way that I got into fire eating is a really close friend of mine was murdered. And he was very good with the community. He was almost like the community therapist. And so losing him hurt the whole entire community. And I just wanted to feel pain. And I made an eating torch and I just shoved it in my mouth and it didn't hurt me. And I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm on to something. And so it took the focus off of my friend, me losing my friend Milky. And I started focusing on learning how to do fire eating tricks and stuff like that. So I'm planning on doing and just from fire eating, I ended up doing the fire fans and I did do palm candles as well and the fire staff. And I'm looking for to actually learning fire poi. But yes, I do incorporate the fire performance as a focal tool because everything that I'm teaching and guiding people to use or practice on my website is things that I have done and have used practices and things that I've done that has healed me from stagnant energy and blockages and from to breaking ancestral curses. So yeah, fire performance
Right.
is most definitely and I like I said, another ancestral thing. You look in a lot of indigenous backgrounds. Does not matter what race. Everyone had a fire eater or a fire performance during a time of crisis or a time of celebration. So it doesn't belong to a race. It's an energy and it's a clearing. Yeah, it's a clearing. It's a good clearing tool, basically,
Right.
and it's been used since man has been here. So it's not like anything that I'm practicing is brand new or anything like that. It's just, I guess, the way that I'm putting it together. It's probably a little hodgepodgey to the public, but I'm hoping that people understand where I'm going with everything.
Well, that sounds good. What I was wondering too then, as well as someone in the chat, they were asking then about, say, with your movement, with your dance, do you use uh, words or music, vocals with it, or like I know in biofield work, I often find myself speaking in an ancient language that just pours out of me, or singing with that, or um, a lot of times I'll be what do you call it? Using the vowel sounds that are associated with each chakra, um, like the yaw for the heart sound.
Chakra.
Whatever chakra, whatever energy center I'm working on, I'll be
Yeah.
using those tones or stuff. How do you incorporate sound with your
Well, your
movement?
your mantras.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's both with me. It's pretty much whatever my soul resonates with at that time. And most definitely it has to be well no, it doesn't have to be, but it's generally high vibrated even when it's sad music. Like I try not to steer to, go down the line of incorporating music that's pretty much suggestive of harming yourself or harming others. I would never listen to that. Like, for instance, you would not probably catch me hula hooping or fire eating to music that is full of profanity and things of that nature, senseless gibberish, where the music artist isn't talking about anything that's going to elevate the room or elevate the person that's listening to it. So for me, it's always music that, which is why I love what music artists, certain music artists do, because if that's what they are, they're spiritual news reporters, just like we are, delivering spiritual news that we can use as well, that's helping us soothe our souls on our journey. And so it's always great being able to, incorporate their energy into my energy. So it doesn't really matter if the music has lyrics or not, but it has to be of a high frequency. Otherwise, you are not going to manifest the freedom that you're looking for. You'll still end up in some type of a blockage or something like that. And if you are trying to meditate while listening to something like that, it's just you're pretty much not. I guess you're kind of like defeating the purpose or something like that. Now, I'm not saying to not listen to sad music, because sometimes sad music has messages that we need to hear. You know, sometimes it is healing to listen to a breakup song, but just don't listen to that breakup song. Don't ruminate on that breakup song too much, because then you will will that type of energy. You're going to keep yourself in that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? And you might even fall even deeper into that, stagnant hole there. So it really doesn't matter. It's whatever your soul feels good at. You know how people say, oh, well, that person can't dance? That's not true. That's what that sound is doing to that person's soul. And don't make fun of how that person's soul is moving. Everyone knows how to dance. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I love incorporating dance into my healing practices, because like I said, it's universal. It's something that has always been used as a healing vocal tool, no matter if it was us going through pain or if we were celebrating happiness. So
Okay. Yeah, good. One last question here before we close, and I was wondering, could you name your favorite music artist that you might use that might help people, if anyone could tune into that music and feel that vibration and healing within them
yes,
as they dance? What's your favorite, or what
yes.
your go-to?
There's so many. There's so many, but I will say the main two,
Okay.
because there was the main two that helped me, and I had these people on repeat religiously, is the Midnight and the Diogenes Club. If you go
Say that.
looking up both of those artists, um, the Diogenes Club is spelled, then it's it's spelled like Diogenes, Diogenes Club. Their music is very, 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 very healing. Like throughout the whole entire me grieving, losing, having to break away from, all of the people that I ever known, they were the ones that coddled me. And the Midnight was the ones that had me to get up and move forward. And I even went to the Midnight concerts, and I was afraid to even leave out of my house. But to see the Midnight, that was a reason to leave out the house. So I would totally listen to those two artists. And I also like Earth, Wind, and Fire as well. So I actually listen to you from Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Diogenes Club, and the Midnight.
All right, very good. So, Diane, could you tell people again how to reach you if they'd like more information or are interested in your work?
Just hit me up, Diana1122.com. That's DAJANA 1122.com. Yeah, it's Diana. That's how you pronounce it. I know it's like Dijana, but it's the Croatian way of saying Diana, and it's the reason why I chose that spelling is because of the vibration of that name and the number of letters that's in that name. It all goes into numerology, and that's something that we'll talk about on a different show, different
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's
So
right.
there's a reason behind the name and the spelling and the numbers. So yeah.
All right, very good. So thank you, Dejana. Thank you, Diana. I'll say it right. Or and it's Diane, not Diana, right?
No, no,
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
either way.
yeah, it's Diana. You can call me Diana or Diane, either or.
Okay. All right, very good. So thank you so much
Either
for being our
or.
guest.
It's all right
And
with me.
okay, good. And thank you
Thank
everyone
you
for
for having
watching.
me. It was a pleasure, man.
You're very welcome. So,
Thank
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, we'll catch you later. Thank you all for watching. And Diane, if you'd like to hold on just a second after we end the live stream. So again, thank you everyone.